Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the Nairobian Chronicles. This is Sister Nairobi, where you will get raw truth. I want to set out a disclaimer that we are not here to declare ourselves as a teacher, shepherd, priestess, prophet. We're just sharing our knowledge and wisdom experience with you to help edify you in your journey of truth. We are also open to learning truth as you see it, and will be willing to reason together with you as well. We love our family. We want to help others in this maze of deception known as the Matrix. And as we learn truth, we turn away from the deception and we continue to grow in this truth. So we don't claim to know everything. So we just want to put that disclaimer out there. Now, as we start this presentation, we want to share with you a topic that is pretty hot, which is whether or not Christ is actually mentioned in Daniel chapter 9. So let's dive into that. This is talking about the 70-week prophecy in Daniel chapter 9, especially in verses 24 through 26. So let's begin. The short and sweet answer to that question is no. JC, Christ is not prophesied in Daniel chapter 9. We will go into more depth in this, and we'll give you some scriptures to look into it for yourself. All right? So let's dig in. So in Daniel chapter 9, verses 2, if you start at verse 2, and if you also go through the main verses from 24 through 26, you will see that in verse 2, Daniel, who is a prophet, and he's praying for understanding concerning the vision that's given, or that he's actually reading through the books, but the vision that was given to Jeremiah the prophet, concerning the 70-year prophecy of Jerusalem's destruction to its end. Now, Daniel, when he's praying, he's saying this prayer during the timeline of Darius the king, who is the king of Persia at that time when he's saying the prayer, and that's in 522 BCE. Jeremiah the prophet has received the prophecy, the 70-year prophecy from the Most High during 587 BCE, so it was before Daniel's time. So as Daniel's reading this prophecy, he's trying to gain understanding. And when you read down in Daniel chapter 9, verse 24, the angel and the watcher Gabriel comes and answers Daniel's prayer concerning the 70-year prophecy. So he comes and gives him some understanding pertaining to it. He comes and answers Daniel's prayer. And just want to note that as the angel / watcher Gabriel gives this prophecy or gives understanding, he mentions it as 70 weeks, which is equivalent to 70 years. So as we read through, starting at chapter 9, verse 24, it says, 70 weeks are decreed for your people and for your set-apart city, to put an end to the transgression and to seal up sins and to cover crookedness and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up vision and prophet, and to anoint the most set apart. So just so that we have an understanding, starting in 605 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. And Daniel is in Babylon during this time frame. So our people are in captivity. Just to give you a backdrop, we are in Babylon. We are exiled. And Daniel is praying concerning the people, concerning our fate, basically the fate of the people, the fate of his people. All right, so now as we continue on, we saw here it's talking about 70 weeks is the decree for the people, and we're going to move on to the next verse. So verse 25, know then and understand from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah, anointed one, the prince, is 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So when you add those together, 7 weeks and 62 weeks is 69 weeks or 69 years. It shall be built again with streets and a trench, but in times of affliction. I'll continue to read on and then we'll break it down. In verse 26, it says, and after the 62 weeks, Messiah, or anointed one, shall be cut off and have nothing. And the people of a coming prince shall destroy the city and the set-apart place, and the end of it is with a flood. And wastes are decreed, and fighting until the end. And then in verse 27, it says, and he, this new coming prince, shall come and confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. 7 years is the 1 week time frame. And in the middle of the week he shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering, and on the wing of abominations he shall lay waste, even until the complete end. That which is decreed is poured out on the one who lays waste. Now, let's stop there. I'm going to break this down for you. So the first thing we want to, take a look at is in verse 25. We're going to do this countdown, right? So whoever this person is that goes forth and commands to restore and build Jerusalem until the anointed one, and it's based off of translation here, is from the time that this was given, or from the time of the decree. You're going to count it out, and there will be a total of 69 weeks. So basically, you just got to keep in mind that until the time that the temple is rebuilt, it's going to take 69 weeks. Okay, so we're going to break that down in a minute. Now, we're going to also notice here that in verse 26, after the 62-week time frame, the anointed one shall be cut off. So basically, after the temple is rebuilt, we're going to have a cutoff point, okay, of when this decree was given and that sort of thing. And then there's going to be a break in timeline. So as the angel's given this information, we have to understand that there's a time frame in which, which all this is happening. So there's going to be a cutoff point. There's a huge time frame that takes place in between. And then another coming prince shall come to destroy that set apart place, him and the people that follows him. And so I can explain here the first person in verse 25 that is talking about who gives the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem is Cyrus, King Cyrus. He's the anointed one. He is declared the anointed one in Isaiah chapter 20. Actually, let me look here. Let me see, what was it? Isaiah 45 verse 1. Cyrus is declared as the anointed one. So you can reference that in Isaiah chapter 45 verse 1. King Cyrus is the one, and if you go to secular history, and we'll break that down, he's the one who actually gives the decree to go ahead and rebuild the temple. All right, and once he is cut off, and the timing actually of when the city and everything is when the temple's rebuilt, and that time of that anointed one is over with at that time frame. So that means his time has come to an end. That time is cut off. Okay. Then in verse 26, when that time is cut off, it says, "And the people of a coming prince shall destroy the city and the set apart place that was rebuilt." And the end of it is with a flood and wastes and decreed and fighting until the very end. And that person, that coming prince who comes into the scene, which is Antiochus Epiphanes, again, we'll break it down, but I'm giving you the short version for those who don't like to go drawn out and reading through all this. I'm giving you the breakdown up front. That it's going to be referring to Antiochus Epiphanes. When he comes on the scene in 167 BCE, he actually causes everybody to stop slaughtering. He actually causes this abomination of desolation, as we call it. He sacrificed swine's flesh, and we're going to read all these things more in depth here, but I just wanted to give the short and sweet skinny of the version right up front in case you don't want to listen to the long drawn out version later on. All right, so now, like I said, we're going to break this down. So in verse 25, Messiah. Now you have to understand the Hebrew definition of the word Messiah or Mashiach means anointed one. It is not talking about Jesus Christ. And this is where we were indoctrinated with that information. We have been deceived. We have been deceived. I too was deceived. And so as we break this down, we will see in truth and in its true context and its true form of what the scriptures are saying here. Mashiach can be anybody that the Most High has anointed for that time frame. Moses was a Mashiach. David was a Mashiach. Noah was a Mashiach. King Cyrus was a Mashiach. And the word Mashiach means anointed one. Okay, so they were all anointed in their time frame. And again, if you go to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1, you'll see that King Cyrus was considered the anointed one at that time. And he was the one who came forth, going forth, and gave the command